Hello everyone, welcome back to Henford on Bagley. I have a little beanie baby with me. She's got the hiccups, so you might be able to hear that. But we are here in 1318, and the house is quiet. It's very early in the morning, and little Shaywin is, well, the first one up. So this is the first time I am playing The Sims 4 on my new computer and actually recording, so I am super excited about that. No one else is stirring yet. The other kids are asleep in bed, as are the adults. We've got a proper thunderstorm going. Now, I did a little research into the year 1318, and as it turns out, there was a bit of a cattle disease going around. And so I decided that we should sell our cow for meat. That's kind of like the closest thing I could come up with in consideration to just getting rid of the cow, in a way where we're not just like getting a bunch of money. So unfortunately, we lose our dear cow and thus our source of milk, which, isn't great just coming out of a plague, but at the very least, we came out of the plague, I was gonna say unscathed, but that's not that's not true. We had a death last episode that I wasn't anticipating on. Oh my gosh, this game is like harder than I remembered, apparently. But that's okay. So the kiddos eat their soup in the morning. We've got a whole wheel of cheese just sort of on the table because that's something that's easy to leave out all day for snacking. Aureliana, get off your phone. Okay, I keep forgetting to fix that because they're just constantly on their phones. So you're going to see a lot of phones this episode. Sorry, I'll deal with it. I know that if I make the game off the grid, that is supposed to stop. At least I'm pretty sure that's what you guys have been telling me in some comments, but I just keep forgetting to do it. So this is Carolina Bjergsen. I introduced her last episode, but I couldn't remember her name, and I thought that she was just a glitch in the Matrix that disappeared eventually. But she's a Bjergsen and doesn't disappear. And I was thinking that maybe she would be a good match for John. Now that John is a proper teenager, he's aged out of his preteenness, I really want to get things rolling on getting him married. Because with the mortality rates, we're gonna need it. We're really gonna need it. Aren't we, Annie? Yes, we are. So John and Aureliana are actually fairly close, which is, I think, really cute. Of course, I think family relations are going to be a little closer, a little different than in some cases we would have now. And that is one of the aspects I really want to play up in this challenge, is just real family networks. And so hopefully we can kind of maintain that. I decide let's have some hot milk. For breakfast, we've got our wheel of cheese put away. Everyone is going out to start doing their tasks. Every morning, John is the one who primarily takes care of the chickens, while Adric mostly works in the garden. Although I'm pretty sure Adric hates gardening, but the dude hates everything. So like, what are we supposed to do, You still have to run the household. Aureliana and Gretchen kind of trade off when it comes to cooking around the house. Aureliana is still learning a lot about cooking. She's definitely not the best cook, hence the warm milk for breakfast, but she's not the worst. And that is the only way to learn, is to just keep on trying. Little Shaywin is actually adorable, and I'm so glad that he hasn't died yet. And that's not a hint as to whether he's going to die or not. That is just, even if I plan on Sims living, they keep dying. Like, ooh, Aureliana likes gardening. Oh, good. Okay, we need someone in the household who likes gardening, so we're going to live that up. So Carolina comes over pretty much every day, which is really nice. Sometimes we invite her, sometimes she just shows up. So she's obviously pretty interested in John. She's still a preteen, but I am going to age her up in this episode so that she's a teenager as well, because in my game, teenagers do get married, and that is purely a historical decision, considering the fact that people died a lot earlier in this era. So it's not weird. It's actually fairly normal. But my preteens cannot get married. So once they hit teenagehood, that's really when I start to consider marriage for them. Hence considering marriage now for John. They actually get along fairly well. Like, they fight sometimes. Oh, do you want to be involved? Okay. Annie wants to be involved, guys. Oh, she's the best. I love her. Oh, Shaywin, no, please don't make messes. This house is chaotic enough as is. We've got chickens running around. We do not need your messes here. No, we don't. So let's have Adric actually try and discipline him. I feel like my sins in this challenge just kind of run rogue as toddlers, and we just kind of leave them alone, which isn't great. I mean, you know, toddlers in history weren't just left to roam freely forever. I mean, they had some form of supervision. So that could be a little bit more accurate, but everyone's just generally so busy in this household that we kind of need the extra time. Aureliana is taking over most of the laundry duties, and it's a really beautiful night, so it's a good night to actually get some laundry done. Laundry takes so long when you're doing it by hand in this game, and I actually really enjoy that. It feels appropriate, it feels accurate. So it's absolutely a pain because it keeps my Sims occupied for so long. But you know what? We'll take it. So I decide that maybe we send Aureliana off to the cemetery or the graveyard, just to kind of, you know, see who's around and maybe mourn her mother a little bit. And I come across this kid named Art Fleming, and he's a teenager, and I think he has a degree of potential. Now, Aureliana is, of course, still a preteen, but I mean, look, he's kind of a snack, right? Like, who does he remind me of? He looks so familiar, and I can't decide why. I don't know. I feel like he reminds me of some, like, cartoon or Disney character. So if you know who he looks like, let me know, because I'm curious. He feels very familiar. I think he turns out really well with his little CC-fication. I'm not going to worry so much about all of these other people standing around just because, my gosh, it would take so long to decorate every sim in this neighborhood. Should I? Probably. Am I going to? No. So Art is actually pretty sad. I'm not sure what's going on, but it appears as though he has been through a death in his family recently, which honestly, I mean, checks out because we have really long lifespans in this challenge. So poor Art. I mean, one in the same, man. One in the same. I mean, look at all of these graves just associated with the Wortham family. And this is all from the first and second generation. Like, we're not even that far into the challenge. This cemetery is not going to last very long, I have a feeling. I have a feeling we're going to need a couple cemeteries around town. Because this is a fairly small lot. And I think we're going to really struggle to fit everyone here. So Aureliana goes over to mourn her mother, and Art joins her, actively crying for her mother, which is a really interesting ploy. He seems like a little bit of a womanizer. He kind of looks like it too. I mean, to be fair, I'm the one that made him that way, but like, whatever. So we actually discover that his traits are evil and slob. So I really know how to pick them for my Sims, considering the fact that Gretchen herself is also an evil sim. Although Gretchen is a very, very tame evil sim, so I'm not super worried. And this time, it's Art's turn to comfort Aureliana, and I do sense a bit of a budding friendship. Although, on Art's side, I think he would rather see this as more than a budding friendship, if you know what I mean. But we're gonna have to hold off on that for a little while until she ages up into a teenager, which should be fairly soon. $13.19 arrives, and it is time to make some more soup. Oh, wow. We generally make 1 to 2 meals a day, usually 2 meals a day. I just make them party size so we have extras and leftovers, and we just kind of leave a big pot to sort of just hang out with a bunch of food in it. And that just kind of reminds me of like gruel or chili or a lot of these other, meals that you just toss things into the pot and you leave it and then you come back to it. And also, Gretchen, why are you throwing up? Are you pregnant? I don't see pregnancy related leaflets, but she didn't eat anything that would make her sick. No, she didn't, Annie Banani. What's that about? What's that about? So I don't really know what's going on with Gretchen, but she might be pregnant, guys. Which is interesting considering the fact that we're now starting to pair off the children, but Gretchen only has one baby because she lost her other one. I think his name's Auden. So Carolina comes over again, and Adric is sort of supervising the little courtship situation that we have here. I think it's quite obvious to everyone at the household that they have a romance brewing. Although Carolina seems a little bit hot-headed. I'm not sure why. I don't think she has any hot-headed traits. No, she doesn't. So we kind of have to work around that quite a bit, which is a struggle. But you know what? We are making it work, and I'm at this point pretty committed to getting Carolina into the family. I mean, she's a cute sim. Oh, I've already CC'd her up, and I don't want to have to do that to every sim that I find. But she's making it kind of hard. So that's just a little bit of a challenge. But in between bouts of anger, she is still flirting with John. So I really don't know what's going on here, but we actually do end up having their first kiss, which is super exciting. And we decide to kind of christen their actual romantic relationship with a little bit of a barn romp in the hay. So here's Carolina as a teen. I think she's adorable and looks pretty much the same as she did as a preteen. Shaywin wakes up in the middle of the night from nightmares. Instead of waking up his parents, he wakes up John and Aureliana, who are by function really his parents, especially Aureliana. Aureliana is pretty much the one who takes care of him 24/7. She feeds him, she gives him baths. She really does it all. Although I do feel bad that they're getting woken up in the middle of the night by their toddler brother. I mean, Gretchen doesn't seem like the best parent, but that's beside the point. So now that we have Carolina as a teenager, I figure it's about time that we actually consider getting things rolling on their engagement. I know it feels a little soon, but Sims are just passing away like flies every 24 hours, so we really need to get a move on. So I staged this cute little proposal by the pond for them, just right across from their house, so they're not really far, and they don't have to go very far either. I mean, it feels fitting. And so we have an engaged couple. So bright and early tomorrow morning, we are going to do the wedding. In the meantime, we have a little bit of preparing to do. Now, we don't have a ton of money. We have a little bit, but we're going to use most of it to actually sort of, sort out the wedding decor. Now, they're not going to have a lot of wedding decor. It's just going to be an arch and some chairs or a bench. And what we have left, we're going to start working on their bedchambers, because we don't have a bedroom for them at the moment. So we just add on this little extension to the back of the house connecting to the kitchen. It would make more sense to have Adric and Gretchen maybe there if they didn't have kids, but because they have a kid currently in the nursery, I'm just gonna leave them where they are. But maybe in the future once they are, kidless. So Adric is doing a little bit of cleaning around the house, and in between cleaning, he is also doing a bit of playing. Because Adric really, really struggles with his fun levels. I don't know what is wrong with this poor sim, but his fun levels are never high. Maybe it's his job. So he does work as a blacksmith and he leaves to go to work every day. So maybe his job just really sucks the fun out of it. But like, I feel like being a blacksmith couldn't be the worst job, you know? I was going to throw a proper wedding party and invite Carolina's sisters, but we can't afford a wedding. It's 1,000 simoleons, and we don't have that. We also don't have like enough money for half of the things that I think a wedding would require as a gold event. So we're just not going to worry about that, and we are going to get them married just in front of the family. Although I can't keep my Sims sitting in front of the arch. They will not stay. It's funny because when you want Sims to have autonomy, they have none. And when you want them to not have autonomy, they're just like, ooh, butterfly, squirrel, I'm going to go run away. So eventually I just straight up give up trying to get everyone to sit. We have Adric there for a hot minute, but he's going to leave too, as is Gretchen. Yeah, like, should I have just turned off autonomy? Probably. But knowing me, I would forget to turn it back on. So we're just going to have them get married by themselves with the rest of the family, not watching. Did I really need to pay for these benches? I did not. It's really sad. I'm a little disappointed in that. But you know what? That's okay. It's the first, I mean, it is the first wedding. No, it's not the first wedding of the challenge, because we had Gretchen and Adric's wedding at the church, which was also a bit of a disaster. Man, this game really struggles with weddings, which is like, I think, a core function of the game, considering the fact that it's The Sims. So we are going to go ahead and move her in. She has a dowry of 500 simoleons, and so really the only thing we can afford is a bed and maybe a dresser. So I go with this Sims medieval bed and just kind of like a classic, you know, straw hay mattress situation. Hi, what are you doing? You smiling? Yeah. So these little shelves act as a dresser. Annie's just over here like smiling away. Yeah, we can't afford anything else at this point. Could we maybe afford a little bit of decor? Possibly, but I'm not going to worry about it. So Carolina is actually literate, and it's kind of clear that she comes from a slightly wealthier family than them. I mean, the Bjergsons traditionally do have a good amount of money, so we do have that going for them. I just didn't want to cheat and like give them a ton of money, you know, because I easily could have done that, but I kind of want to like maintain the integrity of this sort of peasant lifestyle. She fits in with the family pretty well and does a good bit of reading. Let's go ahead and delete all of this and see how much we can get from it, because what I'm thinking is that Caroline is going to be a little bit of a gardener, and so I wanted to create this cute little like hedge maze. Now, are hedge mazes necessarily medieval? I would say no. They kind of come with the leisure gardens, I think, of the 19th century. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I know about gardens, pleasure gardens weren't quite as popular. But I just, like, I had it in my mind's eye. I really wanted a cute little garden space and, you know, a space that we could functionally use for little proposals, maybe even little elopements, because I have a feeling we're going to be doing quite a lot of elopements considering how this wedding went and how Adric and Gretchen's wedding went. So I'm just going to make a little tiny wood log path here, and we're going to add a little bit of terrain paint, not a whole lot. I don't want to commit too much time for this. And a tree, maybe another tree, and we'll call it a day. We don't need too much. We also can't afford too much, and I'd like to have a little bit of money left over in case we do need to buy anything food-wise. So it's these two, like, first night, first, you know, meal in the household as a married couple, and I think things are going well. Her kind of hot and cold, her hot and cold mentality hasn't cute sneezes hasn't been too bad. We are having a flower salad for tea. which can't taste great. Like, edible flowers are wonderful, but I wouldn't want a whole bowl of them, you know? Like, that's not ideal. We also lose one of our chickens to Grimm, so I do have pet aging on, and that includes, like, the chickens and I think the cows and everything. I wasn't really expecting Grimm to actually come for the chicken, although I am kind of grateful that they don't get a tombstone. That just seems a bit unnecessary. So we actually have Carolina's sisters come to visit. So this here is Elsa. She's coming to check on her sister, see how new life as a married woman is, because she herself is married. I think both of her sisters, Elsa and Sophia, are actually married, and with kids of their own. So maybe we can kind of incorporate their children into the narrative gameplay here. This is Sophia. I think Sophia turned out so cute. What do you think? I'm kind of obsessed with the way Alpha CC looks on this computer. Like, I don't know if it worked very well on my old computer, but I think I have the graphics now to, you know, make it work. Sure, it's a little uncanny valley, but I don't know, I don't mind. I've been alpha since The Sims 2. You know how I am. And it is time for Gretchen to have her baby. Gretchen's having a baby. Sorry about the baby talk. I'm trying to keep my baby entertained. So let's see what we're gonna have and hope this baby survives. We haven't done too well with Gretchen's children at this point. So okay, it's a girl, and I think we're going to name her. I have like a list of names that I've written down, so I have some kind of reference now. I think we're going to name her Isolde, and let's go ahead and have this baby. Isolde. We could really use your strength in numbers in this household because it's a pretty small household for how many kids we've had. All right, so it's time to run the mortality rolls. Guys. It's not good. It's really not good. I am honestly just... I'm a little bit floored. At how bad these mortality rolls went. So we are going to have to age her up. And you guys know what aging up a baby immediately means. So I had a little bit of a crash situation, but baby Isolde is aged up. She's hanging out in the garden, and we are going to go ahead, and before we kill her off, I do want to dress her up in her middle age outfit and give her a little CC makeover so that she enters the afterlife in the most aesthetic medieval way possible. That's right. Okay. Oh, she's so cute. I feel so bad. Oh, this game is brutal. If you guys really want a challenge, play this. It makes the game so much harder. So I go with this kind of like halfway between her parents' hair. I wanted like some kind of like curly crimpy hair for her, and she's just so cute. It makes me feel horrible about what we are about to do. And I also wish there was an actual toddler death animation. Again, I know how that sounds. It's not great, but it would be nice if the kiddos don't just like stretch out as they're trying to die and look funny with the animation. Like, someone has to have made a mod for that. Like, if I weren't trying to kill her immediately, I would use the like the fatal disease component to that one mod that I have, but it takes a while, and I would rather get this out of the way because she's supposed to be a stillborn, you know? So that's what we're going to write in the actual records. We're going to write that she was a stillbirth. which is really sad. And Carolina's sisters are here. I don't think the Bjergsen girls are exactly accustomed to as much tragedy as they are going to encounter in the Wortham household. So they are both sobbing, like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that this child has just died in the front lawn while we are here. Was not expecting that when visiting our newlywed sister, who is also, I don't even know where Caroline is, but she's busy. She's just wandering around. This poor little Shaywin is coming too. The kid was finally gonna have a sister about his age, and unfortunately, it's just not in the cards for Shaywin, which makes me sad for him. But also, why is Sophia looking at John this way? I feel like she's kind of enamored by John. So I do send John with the tombstones. I also pick up the spare tombstones that have died around our lot, not necessarily on our lot, because I'm getting real tired of all those ghosts. So I'm going to put them in the cemetery. Eventually I might get rid of the tombstones that aren't family tombstones in the cemetery as it starts to get really full. But right now it's okay. I think that we're going to have it. Here is where we are putting little Isolde. John. John is mourning over his sister. I mean, John... You would think that John has been hardened at this point because the man has truly seen it all by the time he's a teenager. I mean, let's just take a second and look at this family tree. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we've got like 9. We've got 9 people in John's generation and only 3 of which are living. That's not good. That's really not good. Plus Briar, like, they've lost their mom. It's... Are we even gonna make it to Generation 3? At this point, I'm starting to be concerned. Although I do feel like this is kind of, like, working out, considering, you know, infant mortality rates and everything of this era. So, historically, maybe it is working well. Ethically, as a modern human, it feels a little rough. But that is where we are going to end today, with everyone, you know, trying to move on and eating some bread and cheese. I mean, they have to continue on. The farm doesn't stop, although it's barely a farm. They really don't have that much. They're just kind of growing things to subsist and sell a little bit. So that's where we're going to end today, and I will see you next time. Bye!